the head man of the Tigers, joins us. What's going on, Coach Reed?
I'm good. What about yourself, man?
Doing great. Always a good time here, man, and appreciate you letting us come out one more time. And let's just kind of sum up last season and kind of talk about last season. Just kind of give us your thoughts on last season.
Well, I thought that, we started out really strong. We had a really young team, and, the jury was still out on us, so to speak, when we started the season. But we started to get on the roll there. We rolled off 7 in a row, and we dropped one, and we came back and won our 8th one. And I think we lost 2 out of our last 3. So we just got to learn how to maintain. And, injuries played a part in it. But we never used that as an excuse. We had opportunities in a couple of those games to get some W's. But I do think with the recruiting class that we have and the depth that we built on the football team, you can expect the Tigers to show big in 13.
Now, had we, and we like to be fair, we had your recruiting class #1 by yourselves last year. Now, had we not had your recruiting class #1, you think we'd been able to make the visit down here?
Oh, absolutely, man. You guys are more than welcome. This is a great time. This is, I'll tell you what, the last 2 or 3 years of the spring game, it's gotten better and better. This crowd is great out here today. And to see what I perceive right now, over 5,000 to 6,000 people out here, and we're not even started yet. I'm real excited that the Tiger Big Blue Nation has come out to support us, man.
Absolutely. You got buses coming from, Memphis is about 2 or 3 hours away, right?
About 3.5 hours, man. So, that's huge. They're big supporters. That Memphis Big Blue and the Memphis Alumni Chapter, you can always expect to see them. The president just rolled in here a while ago, so everybody's out here to get to the Tigers, man.
No question at the spring. It must be a big event if the president rolls through and talking about the spring football game. Getting back to kind of last season, was it, because the season overall was excellent, was it kind of frustrating there at the end? And of course, ultimately, even with the 8-3 mark and with 20 teams in now, for the FCS not making the playoffs, how frustrating was that?
Yeah, that was pretty frustrating, especially when you look at the caliber of opponents that we played. We ended up, I think we beat the Phillips when they were the MEF champions. We beat Arkansas Pineville, played with SWAC champions, and Eastern Kentucky was the top-ranked team. We knocked them off early in the season. So it was a little disappointing, but you got to win your way in, and I can understand that, and hopefully we'll take that into this season.
Certainly, and even before we talk about the festivities here and what we can kind of expect from today's spring game, spring practice to this point, because that all leads up to this. How has that been going so far in terms of spring practice?
I think we've had a really productive spring. We want to get a look at some young guys. We have 11 returning starters on defense, and I think we have 6 or 7 coming back on offense. So our thing is to develop some depth and develop some quality athletes behind the guys that are already out there. With that being said, nobody out there has a job. We want to compete. Competition is huge. We got a situation rise this spring with Nick Thrasher, an all-conference linebacker. He was out for the spring with a minor knee surgery, but his backup, Mike West, he's going to make it hard for Nick to keep that job in the ball up league. And that's what you want on a football team. You want the next man in philosophy. You want if someone goes down, that next guy coming in is not a huge drop-off. And I think we'll have that at our linebacker spot. But I think Nick will come back stronger than ever, and I'm really excited about what we have to come back to on defense.
That seems like a good problem to have. And when you're talking about Nick, he could have easily been a first-team all-conference guy.
Oh, absolutely. I thought he was. But Blake Pfeiffer, the kid down from SEMO, he's put together a good resume over his last 3 years down there, making a lot of tackles. And I think he was well deserved for him getting that spot. But Nick has a couple more years to kind of grab that crown if he wants it, and it's going to be in front of him whether or not he takes it or not. But he's a great kid, a good leader for our football team. He does a lot of good things for us defensively, so we're excited to have him on our team.
And there's no question he's going to come back, and not just singling him out, but if the young man you mentioned happens to take his spot, does he move somewhere else, or are you that deep in linebacker?
No, we're really not. We recruited a great young group of linebackers. Mark Reeves out of Atlanta, Chad Williams out of Florida, and Justin North, another kid out of Orlando, Florida. We think it's going to be really good. But like I told those guys this spring, the guys who come in the championship here this spring, that's going to be the new proof of our football team. Anything that we get from here, we can fix that coming in. It's going to be icing on the cake. So Mike West and Nick will see a legitimate amount of snaps this year. And the thing about our Mike linebacker is he can easily slide over to the wheel. They're pretty much interchangeable. So you can see them on the field together a lot.
Talk a little bit. You got some offensive linemen. Rogers Gaines comes to mind really in terms of the draft on next week. But you got a couple of guys that have a real opportunity to either get drafted or sign as priority free agents.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Roger Gaines obviously was the bell cow for us this year, but Travis Ward decided that, you know, he was going to come out, and I think Travis will end up on somebody's roster. Also, Sherman Carter is an offensive center for us. He's really good at pitching the mind of a seasoned movement who's been in the league the last 3 or 4 years, so we're really excited about what's going to happen on next week, and hopefully you'll see 2 or 3 Tigers signing some NFL teams.
Dude, where is he? Is he in Jacksonville?
No, the last team that he was with was the Baltimore Ravens. I think he's a free agent right now, and I think he's in that area where he's contemplating whether to keep pushing or, you know, to get out into the corporate world. But he has his degree, and, you know, if that's what he wants to do, more power to him.
Now with Newton and the other guy, I mean, does he kind of help the guys that have the opportunity to kind of be drafted? Does he talk with them?
Oh, absolutely. Matter of fact, we get a lot of guys coming back. Dominique was supposed to be here, but I think Peyton summoned him to Denver. And, you know, I guess when Peyton summons, I got to go.
Right.
But Anthony Levine is here with us today. You know, he's on Super Bowl champion, Baltimore Ravens last year. You know, he's in attendance today. We'll probably get a chance to visit with him a little later. But those guys come back all the time and see us, man. And we're really excited about that. They know that this is home. This is a family atmosphere here. And when our guys leave here, they always come back.
Now the schedule this year, you guys are going to continue to play here, right? Some home games, which was, I know how exciting was that to kind of be back here after all those years.
Oh, it's really exciting, man, especially when we were 3-0 down here in the hole this year. You know, this crowd, I mean, it was one of the first times, I've been here 10 years, but when I walked into the stadium, that first game we played back in the hole, and you saw all the blue and white, it was a 1 o'clock game, chills went down my spine because this is where I played. So my father played down here in this hole, and it was a really, really exciting time for us.
So with that being said, what can we kind of expect today? You know, different programs have different formats in terms of the way that they do spring football games. What's the format here?
Well, our format today is we got a point system. We really didn't have enough guys that we have to divide up into a blue and a white group. It'll be really an offense versus defense strategy. You'll have 1 versus 2, 2 versus 1, and 1 versus 1. So you get an opportunity to see how defense goes against our offense. And, you know, we're definitely excited about that.
Who's had big springs that maybe didn't, maybe kind of under the radar last year?
Well, I mean, we got a kid that was a great shirt for us, Lavassi Kelly. You probably saw him on our signing list last year. He's had a pretty big spring, and he's shown us that he can make plays and, you know, get yards after the catch. AC Leonard, you know, he's done a great job this spring. You know, and you know, the 2 quarterbacks that are battling for that starting position there, Ryan Turner and Hope Claiborne, you know, they've shown improvement all spring. But Delvin Hooks is another one. Mike West, we talked about him earlier. But those guys have really shown this spring, and I think that's around the play really well. And I can't single one of those guys out every time I look around one of those guys making plays.
With the talent of tight ends, you have to go a lot of times with 2 tight end sets, or how does that work?
Well, our tight ends are so talented that we can go full line and split those guys out. You'll see AC Leonard split out every wide out, along with Joe Bowens and Mark Hughes and those guys. So we're really fortunate to have some athletic tight ends to be able to do things like that. And, you know, get some matchup problems.
And then also with that, I mean, are you coaching a specific side of the ball, or?
I'm a defensive guy. I really don't care about the offense or the scoring points. You know, nah, I'm just kidding. But I don't spend a lot of time. Mike Jones is my offensive coordinator, and Mike was a head coach over in NFL Europe and won 2 World Bowls over there as a head coach, and won 2 World Bowls as a coordinator. And he really has a handle on the offense coach part, the quarterback coach. He played here at TSU before he went on on defense and played in the NFL. So those guys really have a great head. And I got a great offensive line coach from us NFL. So, you know, I'm really satisfied on the offensive side of the ball, what they're doing over there. I spend the majority of my time on the defensive side, but, you know, I watch the practice film every day on both sides of the ball. My day starts a little earlier than everybody else's, obviously, but I'm very well attuned.
And lastly, I know it's kind of hard to tell, especially when you have freshmen, because we had a lot of really good freshmen with this recruiting class, and a lot of guys that could do some big things. It may not be fair, but is there anybody that you think from this class that can kind of come in and help you right now?
Man, I tell you what, we got a couple of big wide receivers. Chris Sanders, McCullum out of Creekside in Atlanta, Georgia, and Dan O'Neal out of Wayne, Florida. I think they're going to be two big-time players for us on the offensive side of the ball. Justin North is a defensive player. Mark Williams is a linebacker. Those two guys are linebackers. I think they'll come in and give us some depth in. And I'm really excited about Rodney Edwards. He's a defensive tackle out of Kansas City, Alabama. And Evan Clay in Georgia City, two offensive linemen out of Georgia. We're really excited. And our whole class, man. Quindell Cousins is a kid from right in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. That's a wide receiver. We think he's got big time potential. So we really have a great class, and I'm really excited about the young men we have coming in.
Eventually, man, we're going to have to find a way to get you into that legend.
Well, I mean, we got the president right here, and we're going to need her and everybody else probably to sign a proclamation for me to have to play in the Legends game. Unless Dr. Glover mandates me to play in the Legends game, I'm going to stay coaching.
Dr. Glover, he's got
well, she's standing right here over here, but she's going to have to make me do that one.
I would talk with her next. We got to get you in that game.
Okay, man. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate you guys coming down, man. This is always a big fun day for us. And we've got so much support from our administration, you know, Dr. Glover, Ms. Phillips, and everybody in our administration has really backed us really well. And we expect big things from TSU in 13.
You got it. Thanks, Coach Reed.
Hey, thanks, man. We'll act like I know what I'm doing out here.
That, of course, the hip football coach.